Hello everyone, I'm Anushka and today I'm here to discuss about SDGs and significant impact of COVID-19 pandemic through achieving the goal. Now, ever since the humanity existed, people have discussed ways to make Earth more sustainable place and have also questioned that can we ever make this Earth a more better place to live? Can we make world more sustainable place by next year or next decade? Can we ever eradicate hunger, achieve gender equality, halt climate change? Well, to answer all these questions, all the members of United Nations came together in 2015, agreed to the new set of global goals for the development of the world by 2030. The goals are the product of a massive consultation exercise, blueprint for people and the planet to live in peace and prosperity in now and in future, which targets 17 global goals. Such goals are who we, humanity, want to be. Now, this is a social progress index tool. This measures all the stuff the global goals are trying to achieve. The social progress index basically asks three fundamental questions about a society. First of all, does everyone have the basic needs of survival? That is food, water, shelter, and safety. Secondly, does everyone have the building block of a better life, which include education, information, health, and a sustainable environment? And third, does everyone have the opportunity to improve their lives through rights, freedom of choice, freedom of discrimination, and access to world's most advanced knowledge? Now coming to the Global Index on SDGs of India. So referring to the pandemic, developing countries like India or Bangladesh have already faced trouble in progressing towards sustainable goals in midst of pandemic. COVID-19 reversed global progress on SDGs. India actually slips 3 spots. Well, it was not any shock when India and other developing countries are facing their most hardest days. Demoting back in the score was expectable. In the time when people are so much minimized with the healthcare facility, when there are a group of people facing hunger for the first time in their life, in such scenario, we cannot expect to give our best to conquering sustainable targets. See towards the dashboard, India is witnessing steady progress in clean water and sanitation and affordable and clean energy, despite the climate change, which has also been acknowledged by United Nations. But amidst continued challenges in India, it has recorded declining trends for quality and life on land. In India, the progress is stagnant and similar to last year in SDG 2, that's zero hunger, SDG 5, gender equality, SDG 11, sustainable cities, and SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institution, and SDG 17, partnership for goals. Now, if we talk about overall observation of SDG Index 2021, those countries who are faring better, they too have to recover some lost ground due to COVID. Scandinavian countries who hold top scores like Finland, Sweden, and Denmark, even they have to overcome challenges faced in the COVID-19 pandemic. Silver lining here is that it has been observed by the experts that countries who are rich can cover lost ground faster than the poor or the underdeveloping countries, because due to their large space. This is why the way that these countries can perform better looking to the future perspective. So, but when we are talking about underdeveloping countries or poor countries, so for this, it has been strongly recommended by the experts that if we need to achieve 2030, so in order to track back these countries, we need, or to cover the lost ground faster, we need to look overall progress on the SDGs by picking up the back of sound policies, and it is most important to bring this strong global cooperation to build forward better so that the entire world in unison can achieve the success. So the pandemic has shown us a new world, one where millions of people are experiencing untold misery, and a virus overwhelms our bodies and economies. Rich and poor, the pandemic forced us to reconsider almost every aspect of our life. So COVID-19, with its triple hit in health, education, and income, there are significant setbacks in progress towards these SDGs. Now, considering the first one, good health, since the virus have spread around the globe, if the infrastructure of the health has to witness a major setback. Even according to the 2019 report, the globe was not ready to face a smooth and a significant reach of a safer healthcare system by 2030. And now with the attack of the virus, it has been devastatingly pushed down. These are alarming setbacks, not just from the disease, but also the knock on the effects of break on vaccination campaigns. We are investing more in producing vaccination, and we also need to consider that all the nations get the vaccination in proper amount, proper dosage, and it works according to the plan. Now, the next is no hunger. It has been witnessed, number of undernourished people has dropped by almost half in the past 2 decades. Central and East Asia, Latin America, and Caribbean have all made huge progress. But after the COVID-19 has exposed weaknesses in global food supply chains have been experienced. Countries like India have been witnessing the community or the family, they are going to face hunger for first time in their entire life history. And it has also pushed fragile countries like Yemen to wake up hungry every day. Next is no poverty. Now, rapid economic progress in India and China has lifted millions out of poverty, but as of 2015, about 736 million people were still lived on below poverty line. Now, Oxfam estimates that the crisis could push half of a billion people back into poverty. SDG 1, no poverty, is the bedrock of the goals. The crisis had made this goal more challenging. Next is decent work. About 1.6 billion people work in the informal economy. That's about half of the global workforce. The International Labour Organization reports that they are in immediate danger of having their livelihood destroyed. The International Labour Organization reports that more than 1 in 6 young people have lost their jobs since the pandemic began, and those that are still at work have seen their hours reduced. Next, quality of education. The pandemic has deprived children of their regular education, which impact SDG 4 and its end goals, helping people eradicate poverty. UNESCO estimates 1.25 billion students are affected by lockdowns. UNDP estimates 86% of primary school children in developing countries are not being educated. And this has exacerbated the inequality between the richest and the poorest students. It is also estimated that education online is out of reach, at least for about 500 million students worldwide. Next is gender equality. The UN created SDG 5 gender equality to ensure it is treated as human right and a necessary foundation for a better world. However, women are facing more consequences of the pandemic than men. The front line of the pandemic are overwhelmingly female. Worldwide, 70% of all the health and social workers are female. Because of stay-at-home orders, women across the world are also being harmed more often by the abusive partners. So I would just like to conclude by saying that virus has already shown their significant damage and will continue to show if government do not act swiftly to protect the most vulnerable. The United Nations acknowledges that the first priority must be for the healthcare system to control disease and mitigate as many of the impacts of the SDGs as possible. Government must create a map to recovery that ensures no one will be left behind as soon as possible. Thank you. And my question for the panelists is like how we can protect the 2030 sustainable goals from getting minimized by the effect of pandemic.
So I don't really have an answer to the question because I'm sorry, but I didn't hear it well. But I do have a question myself for you. I'd just like to ask, after seeing your presentation, it's noticeable that India is facing a lot of problems right now. So I just wanted to ask, in your opinion, what do you think should the government prioritize first and foremost in combating these issues? Like, is there a choice for you?
Yeah, actually, government should actually focus on three things first. For definitely the better healthcare system, we need to boost up the healthcare system. And second, we need to create more jobs because definitely people are ruthlessly being eradicated from their jobs. That is and to end the hunger and poverty, we actually need to have job. And before that, we need good education. So the third and the most important thing is that we need to ensure that people are being not compromised with their education at any point. We need because of the online system, we cannot attend physical classes. There are a lot of people have there's no record also how many people have lost access to the basic needs of education. So we need to prioritize education, healthcare system, and then obviously with that we can access to the job, which definitely will lead can eradicate leading to poverty.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anushka, I would like to answer your question regarding what we can do to minimize the effect on SDG by 2030. Okay, so we see in our society that many of that we have a huge set of the policymakers that run our country. So as a citizen, we can submit our report and responses, and we can submit the query, and we should ensure that this is not only done in the paperwork, and we should ensure that government actually takes the action regarding that. And further, we have seen that in this pandemic situation, when the lockdown is lifted from our country, we have seen that many people from different backgrounds have many people who don't have the real problem. They also started shouting to the government to supply this and that, supply this and that. So as a citizen, it's our responsibility to not pressurize the government, as the government is already burdened with such a scenario. So my point of view would be like that.
Yeah, yes, definitely. As citizen, we need to work first. We need to just mind our responsibility first before this putting all the blames on the government. That's definitely a good point. Thank you.
So first, I just want to answer what you were asking about how we can recover from the pandemic and pursue our SDG goals. So I think what governments can do is really, I know several $trillion are being reinvested into our economies in order to revitalize it. So I think what governments can do is to redirect this into a more SDG fashion and like use new technologies in order to not build back what was once in the past, but also build back better in order to speed up our progress in these SDGs. So I had a question regarding your presentation. So we saw that the COVID-19 pandemic has affected a lot of the SDGs in the world, but how has it affected our actions on climate change and renewable technologies? Would you possibly know? Thank you.
Yeah, to answer your question, like climate change, the first is like a lot of people are using masks, like they have started using masks more than before, and mask is just like one-time use. We have to throw it back, and we have seen that people are disposing masks in the water bottles, which is definitely a very harmful, and it has been also recognized by the climate change makers that this is one of the most heinous crime actually people are doing. They're affecting water bodies so badly, and in some places we're actually started to seeing the how the life of the aquatic life is being hampered due to this. So this was, and actually due to lockdown we can say that in climate we have seen some positive changes also. If we just remove the point of these water bodies, but we have also seen some positive change in climate. We have actually controlled the pollution by due to some level by keeping by being inside our house, locked it for long period of time. So yes, so basically one is the mask problem, that we have to find solution to dispose mask, and this is very important. You cannot just throw anywhere like this. So we have to work on it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
And I want to ask about the gender equality you pointed out, and I think that Japan falls behind in terms of gender equality from other countries. And what kind of policy does the Indian government take, or what do you think is the effective policy we have to take?
See, before talking about the what government should take the policy, first thing, like when we were experiencing a very dreadful pandemic here in India, we saw that how every people in the communities have come together to help each other. That was the most important thing. We have to always keep on believing on the force of humanity first. So when we talk about these SDGs, it's not that if government will make any policy, then only we can conquer this. We can just conquer into our own level simply by saving electricity, by not polluting, by saving water. These are simple steps we as a human collectively should take before talking about this in a very big level, that what government will come up with the policies. So the first thing is that everyone has to stand in anonymously to believe that we can conquer this. We should have that feeling that we need to make this place more sustainable. So it's all into actually hand of the common people. If we will decide to work towards it, and we will make it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.